People, Travis, Horror Movies Uncut, Submissions and Slashers, welcome to The Big Horror 3, where we are going to be talking about the 3 most intriguing horror movie topics of the week. And this is for the week of March 25th. Now, we are at Hump Day right now, so that means we've already gotten to the week. But since this is our first little episode with this, we wanted to make sure we really tuned into what was going on in the horror landscape before we gave you guys those 3 topics. So I am Travis, of course. Follow us at HMUNCUT. Make sure you're checking us out on the Submissions and Slashers podcast that you can hear on Spotify or watch on YouTube. Okay, so today's topics is going to be, first off, Late Night with the Devil made a lot of noise this past weekend, but there's a little controversy surrounding some AI use that's been going on for a while, but it's really coming to the light right now. We got some thoughts on that. Topic number 2, another film that destroyed it in the box office this weekend, Sweeney and Immaculate, right? We're going to talk a little bit about her performance, especially that final ending scene. Spoilers, people. This show has spoilers. Make sure you know that before you watch it. We're going to kind of talk about what is significant about that ending and why it's kind of making a little news outside of the film industry. Last but definitely not least, we're going to kind of talk about how 2024 is already shaping up to be a really good year for horror films. And we'll talk about films that we listed on our letterbox as some of the best films we want to see this year. And then we're very, very curious to what you are thinking are some of the films that you want to see, especially coming up this next month here in April. So we're going to jump in, talk about that right off the bat with topic number 1. So, Late Night with the Devil, did it really gross 666 in sales? Or was that just something that was used as promotion, marketing to get people really interested in a film that I think when they get a chance to see it, they're going to like it anyway? Hey, at Horror Movies Uncut, we gave it great reviews. Sure, you guys, if you got a chance to see it, you know exactly what we're talking about. But one of the things that has popped up, and this popped up actually when the film made its original premiere last year, there is a little segment, kind of a cut scene. Don't forget, spoilers in this. So if you've not seen the movie, you do not want to watch this show. There's a little scene of a skeleton that is shown, and we're going to pop that up here on the screen. This little guy is causing some controversy because it has been talked about and discussed and openly admitted by not only David Dashimo, the star of the film, but filmmakers and the crew that, yes, they did use AI to kind of come up with some themes around the time period of the show or of the movie, Late Night with the Devil. This is something that, of course, started a big debate, started a lot of issues within the community, because you have to think about it. Let's look at the pros first and foremost. AI is great because it gives outlets to people who may not have access to great marketing teams and great illustration teams. But the con to that is if you are on a big film such as this that's getting pushed by IFC, already has rights through Shudder and things like that, you're thinking you guys have the team and the talent to come up with your own original. Does this really take away from the experience of the film? I will first and foremost say no, not at all. Doesn't take away from the film at all. Is it something that could be kind of nitpicked at and really focused on a little bit too much, where it's going to start turning people away from the film? Let me tell you, I've been doing a little bit of research. I've been on Twitter, I've been on Reddit, and I'm surprised to say that, yeah, there has been a lot of comments. There's been a lot of people that have been saying, oh, I've heard about this. I see that it's using AI. I don't want nothing to do with this film. I do feel like personally that's a shame, but this show is not necessarily geared towards my opinion on everything. That is what Submissions and Slashers is for. I'm here just kind of talking about the fact that it is a very relevant news story. It is something that is a topic that people are talking about. I will be very, very curious to your thoughts. Hit us up at Human Cut, HMUNCUT on Twitter, on Instagram, or comment on this here podcast. Let us know your thoughts. Do you guys think that it is kind of a bad thing that Late Night with the Devil used AI? Now, it's not like they used AI to create one of the scenes of the film, even though there is some now talks of, well, what else was being done? But they openly admitted that, yes, they used AI for this little cut scene to make this little graphic that they felt fit with what they're trying to do with the atmosphere and elements of Late Night with the Devil. But they also said they didn't just outright use the image, they made some changes to it. This, of course, has also been, in a sense, not necessarily debunked, but people are going after this because you are even seeing now people reposting their own versions of the skeleton saying, look at how easy it is to make this. So it is something that is being discussed. And I'm curious to your thoughts. Is this a bad thing for the film industry? Is this just something that's just related to this movie and we shouldn't really worry about it? Or is this what people have been fearing about AI, which is why we had issues and strikes and stuff like that? Is this a topic? It is. We'll be right back with topic number 2. Sydney Sweeney is for sure the darling of the industry right now. Not only for her roles and things like Euphoria, which kind of made her a lot popular to the masses, even though this young lady has been putting in work for some time. She has kind of sparked a little bit of topic of interest with her latest film, which is Immaculate. In the film, there's a very, very specific ending where she has to do this insane act of destroying a child that she has brought into this world through the means of immaculate conception, we think, or in a sense, okay? But what we're finding out is there's a lot more man-made elements into the midst where it's just good old-fashioned evil that men do coming to fruition to kind of round out what we see in Immaculate. In the final scene, which is what's causing the topic of discussion, we see Sydney screaming and yelling, which we find out if you go back and look at the interview that she did with Entertainment Weekly before the film was released, we find out that was kind of improv, which shows just literally how good this woman can be as an actress and how her ceiling is just continues to rise. So in this scene, the director, and I apologize, I should have had his name down. Michael Mohan, I believe, is the director of this. I might be confusing that with another film. They pretty much said, hey, this is on you. How would you like this scene to be? And she kills it, literally. But before, there is this intense scream. So, of course, there's going to be talks of, like, I don't know why masculinity ever has to be brought into any of this stuff, but you'll see people talking about this. You'll really see people talking about feminist-driven impacts at the end of this film with her performance, what it means still to be a woman in today's society. It's almost like a primal scream of a woman is what you're kind of seeing in this film. Like, enough is enough is what I kind of got from it. So, I would love to talk to her to find out if that's what she was feeling in that moment, to dig a little bit deeper than even what Entertainment Weekly was talking about. But, it really just took her performance, which was already pretty solid throughout the course of the film, to the next level. And it was the ending that we kind of wanted to see more of that throughout the course of the entire film. So people are talking about it. It's scaring some people. It's drawing some parallels to other films of young ladies covered in blood. And it's kind of funny that Stephen King posted on his X account on Monday morning that everyone needs to go read New York Times writer Margaret Atwood's article about Carrie, looking at the film, the book that Stephen King brought to us 50 years ago, and how so much of the context in that book still remains relevant for what we see today. And I think even now more with the political climate and the uptick of the right and what you kind of see going on with the red, you're kind of seeing that some of these tropes might be back in the front of everyone, you know? People are still clinging to religion as a savior for all this turmoil and all this hate that we're seeing in the world, especially when you see what's going on, or what's continued to go on in Gaza and places like that. But to draw a parallel to a film like Carrie, I think we would have to say Sweeney's performance in Immaculate is really just paying homage to Sissy Spacek and all those amazing young women and men who were in that original film that is just, you know, it just can't be touched. It's just, and here's the thing, you want to look at a film like Immaculate and that you hear the Rosemary's Baby, you hear so many other types of Omen, you know, but we have the first Omen coming up, which is something we'll be talking about in the next topic. But when you look at a film like Immaculate, I feel like just in regards to Sweeney's performance, we are getting echoes of what Stephen King and thankfully his wife, Tabitha, right, who pulled the papers of Carrie out of the trash and was like, no, you finish this or we would not, I feel, have some of these scenes that we're seeing these days. So I thought Sydney's performance was great. You know, anything involving religion, you're going to have some type of blowback. I was expecting more things coming from the church and even from the right. I was looking for the last 24 hours for as much stuff as I could find of religious people bashing this film or not wanting it to come out. And even in my podcast for Submissions and Slashers, I called out Neon. I called out the film industry on why they're still showing movies like Immaculate and Late Night with the Devil so later in the day to not, you know, get it mixed into Bible Belt time frames, sundown times. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I will say I was happy to not see really any backlash from anyone on this. But the stuff that people are talking about, I think if they go back and they think of some of these previous performances by some of these young ladies back in the 70s and 80s, the original Final Girls, if you may, you will see that what Sweeney did at the end of Immaculate was really just give beautiful homage to all these leading roles that these young ladies have been involved in, you know? Let's stop acting like women have not been killing it on screen, people, because they have been since day one, okay? We'll be back to wrap this up with topic number 3. Topic number 3, which is 2024 another great year for the genre of horror? 2023 wasn't bad. 2022 had a lot of great films. 2021, 2020, you know, of course, because of certain things going on in the world, there was a lull. But what I will say is, for every filmmaker out there, thank you. Because even the films that hit 2022, 2023, that were kind of created during that time frame of the pandemic, when a lot of stuff was being shut down, when a lot of people weren't working, we appreciate whatever came out that gave us something to watch, that gave us something to dig into to bring us back closer to society. So we appreciate you guys. We're talking about 2024, and we're talking about how the potential of certain films could lead this to being one of the best genre years that we've seen. Now, you got films that everybody knows that are making comebacks: Ghostbusters, Aliens, A Quiet Place. There's Beetlejuice. There's characters like Godzilla and King Kong that are still doing their things from previous reincarnations that were made, or reimaginings that were made for them. Yeah, Michael Mohan, Imaginary, got that. You have films like Lisa Frankenstein that made a lot of money in the theaters, that got a great buzz because it's taking classic horror stories and giving it that much needed uptick. We have the copyright films, right? We got the copyright films: Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 1 and 2. I told you guys on Sub and Slash, Winnieverse is coming out, which I don't even want to know what that. Okay, you got Mickey Mouse's Trap. There's a Bambi movie coming out that's already been done this year. So spider movies are back in 2024. We've already seen Sting. We've already seen Infested. There are people. There's return of characters that we thought you really couldn't do anything more with, because there's been so many films that have come out that are making a comeback. The Mummy, Damien, necessarily more like his mama in a sense, right? With The First Omen, The Crow. I don't know if you guys saw our trailer, and it's been posted. Lionsgate, all those guys, Bill Skarsgård. M. Night Shyamalan is bringing some new people to the mix. We're seeing Dakota Fanning making a comeback with The Watchers, the new movie that's coming out that he's producing. He's also doing his own film, The Trap. Wolfman, yes, Lee Winnell. I how dare I forget Wolfman? Nosferatu, of course. You know, there's some movies that we've already watched. Your Night Swims, Abigail's coming out, Arcadian. You know Nicolas Cage has got about 2 movies, right? Long Legs, we're looking forward to that. Conclusions of things that started right before that shutdown, right? Led after, like the X trilogy, Maxine, finally getting wrapped up. Serial killers are back with films like Long Legs, In a Violent Nature. The Soska sisters are back. They got a undead film that's going to be on Tubi later this week. And then there's these films that you don't really know too much about, but you've seen a little bits and you're really, really looking forward to them, like Azrael, Cuckoo. Exhuma came out this past weekend. I saw the TV Glow. We already got Imaginary. We got the return of Jigsaw again, you know? So yeah, there's so much stuff in 2024 that's making comebacks, that's making returns, that's taking us back into more of true horror tropes. We're kind of, like I told you guys over the summer on Sub and Slash, we kind of got back into human element with home invasions and stuff like that, which I told it's bound to happen when you're coming out of something like the pandemic, like we did a few years ago. But now people are like, okay, we are once again showing how terrible humans are. Look at films like Civil War. You know, I'm not even talking about some of the action films that are coming out. History of Evil, things that are dealing with more political stuff. You're gonna get that kind of going away, weaning off, and here comes the monsters, here comes the slashers, here comes the zombies. And it's just in time for summer, because that's what you want to see on the big screen, at the drive-ins, and at the big festivals. So I'm looking forward to it. And I am looking forward to giving you guys more of these. Hope you guys enjoyed this Big 3 horror topics of the week. We will be back next week with 3 more topics. Make sure you follow us. Once again, topic number 1, we were talking about that AI. Is that truly a controversy being used with Late Night with the Devil? Topic number 2 was Sydney Sweeney's performance. Does it mean more at the end of Immaculate? Is there more to think about with what she did and how compelling that performance was? And then topic number 3, is 2024 going to be one of those memorable years for horror? Can't wait to find out. I'm going to be discussing these with some friends of mine too, and we'll be making sure you guys are included on those. Make sure you guys let us know some of your most anticipated films. Hit us up on our X at HMUNCUT, and then make sure you keep on to what we got going on with Submissions and Slashers, Horror Movies Uncut, The Family, and the Big 3 in horror for the week. See you on the next one, folks.